So Rochelle, where did it go? Says, Mark, you came from eating a high protein diet and then you started eating the sugar diet. Don't you ever crave protein on this diet? After a hard workout, how is fruit and sugar satiating?
It's not always the most satiating thing, but it works. I enjoy it and it gets me to the next meal. Make it to the next meal. I did a video a while back just kind of saying that, like, make it to the next meal, make it to the next day. When people in the military, they're promised X amount of meals a day. When they're in boot camp or basic training and they get their asses kicked, they get the shit beat out of them every single day, but they know breakfast, lunch, dinner. So the way that I deal with it is I just mentally prepare myself for it. Today's a sugar fasting day. We're just going all in. The whole day is going to be sugar fasting. I'll think about it. Oh shit, you're going to be like lifting later today. And when you're done lifting, you're going to want, like a reward. Well, you don't get one today. You got to wait till the next day. And so for me, it's not bad because I just wait to the next day and then I hammer down some lean meat and some starch. So that's how I deal with it. I deal with it by actually filling in the gap. I end up actually just eating it. And that's a great solution. And I think that when you start to have all these different things in a diet, I mentioned the stuff about the potassium, salt. I'm not fucking kidding. Potassium, salt, and water. Potassium, salt, and water. When those things are checked off, some of these cravings and stuff will subside. That craving that you have for like steak and potatoes and stuff, it's a craving for sugar. Or sorry, salt. It's a craving for salt. It's a craving for salt. It's like your brain is going to those foods because those foods have salt. What do you do if you have a baked potato? Other than some people put butter or sour cream on it, but like, how much salt are you going to dump on that potato? You have to dump a lot on there for it to be anything you can even like remotely get close to eating or finishing. At least that's the way it is for me. So when you're thinking about that craving, even a potato or even French fries, people are like, oh man, I'm craving French fries. Yeah, okay, you might be craving but what are you actually craving? You're craving fat and you're craving salt. You're craving fat and salt. Like every time you had a French fry craving, imagine if you had steak and potatoes instead. Like that would be a way better option than eating something that's fried. But yeah, so make sure the boxes are checked for your potassium, your sodium, and your water intake. And you're going to have those boxes checked automatically just by adding in some salt into your smoothies and stuff like that here and there. Add to some of your fruit here and there. You don't have to add a lot. You don't have to go crazy with it. But add a little bit in there, here and there. And then when you bring starch back in and you bring some lean meat back in, then start to re-examine and reevaluate your cravings. Because now you're ending up on a diet that has fruit juice, honey maple syrup, sugar, candy, vegetables, lean sources of protein, and starch. It's like, what the fuck else is there to a diet? Maybe I guess some dairy. And there's some room for some dairy and there's room for protein shakes and stuff like that. And I've talked about that a bunch. So it's like now you're on a diet that has such great variety. It's just that maybe some of that variety is just used strategically. Maybe some of that variety is used as a strategy to get your body heading in a particular direction. So, yeah, you're not waking up on a random Tuesday, going to a diner and having, 2 or 3 eggs with 2 or 3 pancakes with butter and syrup and shit poured on. Like that's not a diet that diet will never work for anything. That's not a diet that's actually effective for shit. The only way you can have a diet like that is to count your calories. And then you're a calorie counting cunt. Who wants to be there? Nobody wants to be hanging out there. The old C word. If you're counting your calories and you're trying to keep, again, my beef with counting calories is just the fact that people almost every single time they're utilizing tracking their calories as a way to lower their calories. They're trying to submarine their calories that way. And if you're going to try to submarine anything in any which way, which I don't even, not a fan of, like drastically lowering your calories in the first place. But if you're going to do it that way, then you do so with food volume and you do so with food choices. Food volume and food choices. And in this case, you actually could bring density in there too. And density would be the sugars. So when you have sugar in there, from fruit, fruit is amazing because you can really like shift into different gears so easily. It's not hard to do. You got things like berries, which are fibrous. They're not crazy sugar though. They're not crazy in their sugar, but you could dump some honey on there. You could dump some maple syrup on there if you wanted to. And you can also dump a little salt on there. And now you're getting like this high-powered, high-impact freight train of a food that has like a lot of energy. It also should be something that helps you, not completely diminishes or gets rid of, but it should be something that helps you blunt or lower your cravings. And some of us with these cravings, this is what we need to like learn. We need to learn ourselves better. We need to be better. We need to figure out a way to get ourselves into a better place so that if we feed ourselves appropriately, I think the cravings will be diminished massively. In addition to that, I think that you should act on the cravings. And I realize that I got to be really careful with that message on who I'm sharing that out with, I think, because some people might kind of go off the rails. Now, just a second here. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, hey, you know what? Even if you go off the rails, I got a life raft for you. I got I'm still going to throw you something that's going to allow you to float. I'm still going to reach my hand out to you and still offer help because I don't care how far away you think that you got. You're only one meal away from being back in. Don't ever forget that. You're one meal away from being off your diet, and you're one meal away from being back on your diet. Always, no matter the diet, no matter what diet it is that you pick. So you might have diverted by 2 days, 3 days, 3 weeks. You might have gained 12 pounds. Shit, man, 12 pounds. Man, I don't know. Well, 12 pounds isn't 50 pounds, so come on back. My hand's out. I'm ready. I'm going to help you. To help you get back in this boat. That's what I think. I think sugar fasting is incredible because you're hitting all the different spots of the palate that in a lot of other protocols you're not able to really get to. Now, keto, the guys who had it right years ago, they had cyclical keto. They would have some days where they'd have a little bit of carbohydrate in there, which makes a lot of sense. I know there's some guys, that just go keto full time, but I think some of those guys have a little bit of carbohydrate in there. Robert Sykes, I don't think he intentionally eats any carbs, but I know that Dominic D'Agostino does. Like Dominic will have like a chocolate bar. Whereas Keto Brick, Robert Sykes, he will have his own product, the Keto Brick, which contains some carbohydrates. So there's still a percentage of his diet that has some carbohydrates, but I don't think he really like officially breaks his keto with hammering any carbohydrates. And now that I think about it, I don't think that Dom does either, but I do think that Dominic gets in, 100 grams of carbs here and there. Anyway, most of these other diets, you don't get the opportunity. That's why Robert created the Keto Brick in the first place. Like, what is the Keto Brick? Well, it's something to have on the ketogenic diet that's sweet. Think about it. What can you normally have on a ketogenic diet that's sweet? Nothing, unless it's processed, right? Unless it's something and I think processed stuff is great. I think it's fine. It has its place. I make protein powder. It's fucking processed, The customers are always asking about the real specifics of the ingredients. And I love that because it shows that you guys give a shit. It shows that you guys care. But I can't make something out of nothing. And I have to make something that still tastes good. I still have to deliver. And same thing with someone like Robert Sykes making the keto brick. But the whole reason why that exists, the whole reason why a Quest bar exists, the whole reason why Legendary Food exists, all these companies exist because these other diet protocols do not allow you to have things that are sweet. They don't allow for it. It's not allowed. You're not supposed to do it. And this is a way to kind of like be in that kind of middle spot of, or to hang out in a little bit of a gray area. And I've used Legendary products for years. I love the products. I'll still promote them. They have amazing. I love their Pop-Tarts. I love the tasty pastries. I love the rolls, sweet rolls. I love really everything they make. They make some awesome potato chip type things. They make all kinds of shit. It's awesome. But again, those foods are created an entire market, entire industry. Quest Nutrition sold for $1 billion. Legendary Foods is in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Like it's insane. Those companies are thriving. It's not just them. There's other companies too. They're thriving tremendously because there's a lot of particular diets that people are on that don't allow for sugar. And in some cases, if you're on like a keto diet if you're on like a keto diet or trying to have some really serious low carb living, you don't really allow for, I shouldn't say tolerate because I'm not talking about like your body being able to handle it, but you don't really allow for carbohydrates. And because of that, you're trying to give yourself something sweet that tastes awesome. And that's Legendary Foods and these other products. But when you're on a sugar fast, you don't really feel the need for some of those things because you're smashing the shit out of that sweet side of your taste buds. But then you also get to hammer some of the other stuff. You get to have your salt. You get to then have your starch, which isn't really like a taste or a flavor, but starch is a consistency, like bread, like a fucking sourdough bread. You hear what I'm saying? Sourdough bread. Hey, how come no one's ever made, this is something that someone needs to make. Maybe I could make this. I was thinking about this the other day. Is it even possible? Ryan, this is dream sequence. Put the little thought bubble right here. And a loaf of bread, sourdough bread. And then over here, you have a bowl of rice. And then marry the two together. Because imagine like sticky rice, like sushi rice, but it was like a loaf. like a sushi rice roll. A sushi rice what was the word I was looking for? Oh, sushi rice loaf. There you go. Yeah, sushi rice loaf. That would be amazing. You mix in, because the sourdough is supposed to have some good properties for like digestion. So you mix in, oh great, Ryan's going to look it up. Maybe somebody already made it. You mix in some of the great properties of sourdough bread with the amazingness of rice, and then you get this fucking rice loaf. Does it exist? Or just in my dreams?
I don't think so. I think it's just in your dreams.
God damn. Everybody help me make this a reality. Let's start a GoFundMe, Ryan. We'll get it cranking. But yeah, you end up being able to hit a lot of the flavor profiles that you like, because you're still getting your protein in, you're still getting your other stuff in. It's just you're not getting it in as much as maybe you have in the past. Something to address here at this time is that sometimes people are confused about how much protein. Well, it's going to depend on everybody individually. But if you're starting to have, if you average it out, you're 200 pound male, and you're starting to only have 50 grams of protein a day or something like that, when you average it out with the sugar fasting in there, well, that's not a great amount of protein. That's not awesome, right? might not, you could just say maybe that's not optimal. We do have to keep in mind that from fruits and vegetables and whatever else you're eating, that there's a little bit of protein in everything. So you're getting 5, maybe 10%. You could look this up on ChatGPT and figure it out. We've done this on the show before. I want to say it's like maybe 6 or 7% is there's protein is in your fruits and stuff like that. So it's not like you're getting zero protein there. If you're eating 3,000 calories, worth of fruit every day, you might be getting in like 30. You might even be less than that. It might be half that. You might be getting between like maybe 20 to 30 grams of protein. So it's not zero, but it's not a lot, right? But then like every other day, let's say you hammer like 100 grams of protein. So like you might want to just like add that up and see what that looks like. Hey, what does it look like if I do 3 sugar fasts every week and I do 4 days of sugar fast by day, meat and starch by night? And you start to look at that, start to figure out, okay, well, I'm only having 100 grams of protein per week. Okay, well, that's too low. That's, in my opinion, that's like a little too low. But what a lot of people would agree with me on, a lot of experts, because I've asked them behind closed doors, I've asked some of these people, and I've asked some of these people when they've been on the show. Remember Mike Fave, Jay Feldman, a lot of these guys are going to be on the show. We already had Stan Efferding on. We had Cole Robinson on. So make sure you check out some of those episodes. We've had Super Brain. We've had Anabology. We had Amplified Vitality. Like, we're just crushing it over here. And we're going to have more guests coming on. We have Mike Dolce slated as well. And we're going to communicate with a lot of people. But a lot of people, would agree that the fatter that someone is, the longer they can go without protein. So I would just I want to empower you guys rather than like me just being the authority and just specifically telling you exactly what to do and how to do it, which I don't mind doing. And I'll do that. So you ask your questions and I will answer them. But I want someone who's, 300 pounds, 400 pounds, whatever it might be, to explore and experiment some of this for themselves. If someone thinks they're going to lose muscle mass, well, then God bless you. Try your own version, and say, hey, you know what, Mark? Like, I've actually just been having, I've still been having 200 grams of protein every day, and I'm doing, sugar fast by day and meat and starch later in the evening, having a protein shake. I'm still losing weight. There we go. You just created a diet. Like, you made your own. And that's my role here. I want to lift people up. I spent many years lifting a lot of weights, lifting a lot of things. And I think the greatest thing that I could ever do nowadays is just to lift people up and help them to be empowered and to feel strong and to feel really good with having the confidence to make some of these calls yourself. Because you can do it, especially if you've been listening to me for a little while or listening to a combination of people for a bit. You now know what to do.